Hello, guys. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our YouTube channel. If I'm audible, do give me a confirmation in the comment box. हाँ जी, एक बार confirmation दे दो अगर मैं audible हूँ तो। Audible. Okay. चलिए, start. We will start the analysis for today, right? Let's move to the front page. And what I want to tell you is, there is nothing that much important which is there in the front page, so I'm gonna directly go to the editorial page, right? Okay. Now, editorial page, if I talk about, this is a political article that is debt and welfare, right? This is related to opportune movement to rediscover Chennai's hydrology. It has been specifically focused on Chennai. We will give it a go as well. But before that, let us come to this article, which is very important. This is related to acceleration foretold. If inflation is not tamed, there is a risk to consumption and growth. Now, the inflation, I think everybody knows, it is a very hotly debated macroeconomic indicator that needs to be there within a particular limit, as it has been said by the government of India, that it shall be within the range of 4 plus minus 2%, and accordingly, the monetary policy is being conducted, and accordingly, the repo rates are being adjusted. Now, one thing you have to understand is, if there is inflation that is beyond the limits, then it certainly impacts consumption and growth. Why? Because if there would be too much inflation, then it could have a direct impact on the consumption, because everything would be too expensive, people would not be consuming. Plus, if there is very low inflation, right, then also is a problem, because when we talk about when there is very low inflation, then there is very, what we call it as, lack of money supply in the economy. And when there is lack of money supply in the economy, it obviously what is basically attributing it to that वहां पे भी consumption and growth कम है. तो inflation हमें एक adequate amount की चाहिए चाहिए जो कि बहुत ज्यादा important है, that will help us to ensure that we have a proper economic growth. That is very much important. If I can talk about inflation, that is very much important for the economic growth, right? So inflation एक particular limit के अंदर ही सही रहती है, that is within the range that it shall be, that will assure that we have adequate supply in the economy, we have adequate consumption in the economy, that consumption will drive the GDP growth, and that will drive the GDP numbers as well, right? So there was a UPSC prelims MCQ as well that was related to this only, economic growth is coupled with, right? So that answer was, there is a certain level of inflation in the economy. If there would not be any inflation, and if there will be too much of inflation, then it is posing a very important threat to our numbers of growth and GDP. Second thing you have to understand is, when I talk about inflation, inflation is the headline inflation. The numbers are released by NSO, National Statistical Office, right? Second thing you have to understand is, these CPI is the consumer price index, where it takes into account both goods and services. Earlier in our country, when we used to understand that what is the inflation, we used to go it from the method of WPI. Now these are the two methods that we have, WPI and CPI. But now the main method that has been used, it is from the consumer point of view, that what are the difference in the prices that is being paid by the consumer, and it is being visible as well, right? So हम यहाँ पे किसको check करते हैं? We try to check the consumer price index as compared to wholesale price index. And if I ask you, what is the base year of consumer price index, can anyone tell me in the comment box quickly? What is the base year of consumer price index? Quickly tell me in the comment box. Of consumer price. हाँ जी guys, I think you must be knowing this fact, that what is the base year of consumer price index when we talk about consumer price index in the mind. Yes, very good, Vaibhav. It is 2012. Yes, Naushin for us, Dr. Ajay Patial, 2012. Very good. Do you know that we do not take into account the financial year, we take into account the calendar year? That is why we write 2012. Otherwise we could have written financial year ke liye 2012-13, but here we take into account the calendar year, that is the 2012. So as a result, the name suggests that we are taking into 2012. So this is an important point that we have to understand. Plus, one of the other thing that we need to understand is, there is very high risk that we could have inflation that could be coming in the few months. Why? Because government has taken certain measures, जैसे कि government ने onion के export को बना कर दिया है, right? So government has banned the export of onion as well. So these are the kind of administrative measures where the government has taken in advance. In context, they are possibly have a we can say contingent plan against the rise in the increase of prices, right? So what we have seen as well, that there have been a constant increase in the prices, and it has been due to national factors as well as international factors as well. In this earlier this year, there was a lot of increase in prices of tomatoes as well. I think everybody would be knowing this fact. And there was increase in prices of pulses as well, and most of it was attributed to one or two reasons. Mainly अगर हम फ्यूल इन्फ्लेशन की बात करते हैं हमारे देश के अंदर, so it was attributed to the Russia Ukraine war. And when we talk about food inflation, so there was related to a white fly disease that had hit the tomato agriculture fields of Karnataka. As a result, it created a lot of problem, and the inflation was the result, right? So as a result, what we had to do, हमें नेपाल से import करने पड़े थे tomatoes. So we shall be very much proactive in our approach, and we shall be very much let's say advanced in our approach. Only then we would be able to tame the inflation, and we would have good consumption and growth numbers. I hope this point is clear to everybody, right? Okay. Now, the second article is related to, as you can see over here, a time honored connect that will help bridge the Gulf. Now, here they are talking about Arab world, and they are talking a specific country of Arab world, that is Oman, right? We were going to discuss the situation of Oman with India, because the Sultan of Oman is visiting India from December 16, right? So this is the first visit to India after taking over in January 2020 following the passing of Sultan Qaboos. One thing you have to understand, after the Cold War, if we see the situation of Arab world, they were more sympathetic and had a soft overtone with Pakistan against India. But it was Oman who had been always very have a cordial relation with India. And we, if we talk about partnership between India and Oman, it is based on what we call it as mutual interest and the mutual trust, right? ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट है जो हमें पता होना चाहिए when we talk about relationship between India and Oman. ये किसके ऊपर स्टैंड करता है? ये स्टैंड करता है म्यूचुअल ट्रस्ट के ऊपर और म्यूचुअल इंटरेस्ट के ऊपर, राइट? सो लेट अस सी द लोकेशन ऑफ ओमान, राइट? एक बार इसकी लोकेशन चेक कर लेते हैं. हाँ जी, आपको ये लोकेशन दिख रही होगी, ये इंडिया है, राइट? एंड दिस इज द ओमान व्हाट वी हैव ओवर हियर, राइट? कैन यू सी दैट इट इज अ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कंट्री? अगर हम सबसे पहले अगर कोई अरब कंट्री की बात करते हैं जिसके साथ हमारा कनेक्ट है, दैट इज द ओमान, राइट? दिस इज द इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट यू गेट टू नो. प्लस here we have this Strait of Hormuz. This is the Persian Gulf, right? So if we have to enter this Persian Gulf, the most important country that we have to have a good partnership, it is with Oman, right? So as a result, Oman is a very very close let's say, अगर हम बात करें सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है, क्योंकि ये पहला कॉन्टेक्ट है अगर हम बात करें अरब वर्ल्ड के साथ. Second point you have to understand is, when we talk about the major powers that are there in region of Gulf countries, that are Saudi Arabia, UAE, and the third is the Oman. If we are able to have a good relation and leverage our partnership within Oman, then obviously we will be able to complete the trinity that we want to achieve, that is a good relation with the Gulf, in order to then only we will be able to reduce the deficit that has been there with the Gulf countries, right? You can see the strategic location. बड़ा ही अगर हम बात करें बहुत ही स्ट्रेटेजिक है, हमारा बहुत सारा ट्रेड है जो इधर से जाता है, and this point is very important, and Oman is the first country that you can see India has a connect with, right? Okay, now moving to the article and discussing certain part. Now I already told you that during the Cold War era, that the Arab world was largely ambivalent towards India, and it was soft and supportive of Pakistan. But it was the Oman that had kept its door open to India, right? Always one thing we have to understand is that Gulf countries have been subjected to regional instability, but it is Oman that has been able to withstand this whole thing. Why? Because it has always pursued its foreign policy on two strands. What are those two strands? Very important. You can use this in your answers as well. These two strands are moderation and mediation, including a policy of deliberate neutrality in dealing with regional issues and conflicts. ये बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग चीज है. एक तो वो मॉडरेशन के ऊपर वर्क करते हैं, दे वर्क ऑन मीडिएशन एज वेल, प्लस दे गो फॉर दिस deliberate neutrality in dealing with regional issues. They have carefully balanced their interest with Western powers and Gulf cooperation countries, and they had a very pragmatic approach to Iran as well. One thing you have to understand, that the what we call it as the nuclear deal that was signed between USA and Iran, it was somehow kindly attributed that it was Oman that played a very crucial and an important role. Second thing you have to understand is that it had a very pragmatic approach to the neighboring Iran as well in the crisis that was there in during the Persian Gulf crisis when the US and Iran were on the brink of a military conflict. It was Oman that played a key role in diffusing tensions. So one thing is absolutely clear, that if we talk about the state of this West Asian countries and the Gulf countries, Oman has always been the one that has stand out and that has stood out. Why? Because of its policies of moderation, mediation, deliberate neutrality, able to diffuse the tensions that have evolved between Western powers and the Gulf countries as well. Now, when we talk about India and Oman partnership, it all started, the strategic partnership started from the Prime Minister Manmohan Singh's visit in 2008, and it is based on mutual trust and it is based on shared interest. Second thing you have to understand is, one is this objective that we need to understand, the parameter against which you can judge the partnership between India and Oman. Second thing is related to defense and security engagement. This also form a very important point, right? ये बहुत important है, and this is governed by a memorandum of understanding. ओमान पहली गल्फ कंट्री है जिसके साथ इंडिया अपनी तीनों ज्वाइंट, अगर हम बात करें, डिफेंस फोर्सेस अपनी एक्सरसाइजेस हैव बीन हेल्ड, राइट? Sorry guys. Okay, Oman is the country ओमान इज द कंट्री जिसके साथ क्या किया है इंडिया ने, अपनी डिफेंस ने तीनों एक्सरसाइजेस होल्ड करी हैं, प्लस इंडियन, गिव मी अ मिनट गाइस, इंडिया हैज बीन द कंट्री दैट हैज प्लेस्ड इट्स नेवल शिप एज वेल, अगर हम ओमान की बात करते हैं, फॉर एंटी पायरेसी ऑपरेशंस एज वेल, राइट? सो दिस इज अ इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट दैट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. Oman has allowed overflights transit by Indian military aircraft too as well, right? In recent years, both countries have cooperated in ensuring maritime security in the Indian Ocean region as well, right? डोंट वरी, देखो ये चीज चलती रहती है, थोड़ा मौसम ऐसा है ना, वायरल सबको इफेक्ट कर रहा है, मुझे थोड़ा सा ज्यादा कर रखा है ना? ठीक है, ये चीज समझ में आ गई. डिफेंस एंड सिक्योरिटी एंगेजमेंट हमारी रही है, हमारी नेवल शिप वहां पे है, प्लेस्ड है एंटी पायरेसी ऑपरेशन के लिए, प्लेस्ड है. इंडिया को अलाउ किया गया है मिलिट्री एयरक्राफ्ट को ट्रांजिट के लिए, राइट? उन्होंने अपनी मैरीटाइम सिक्योरिटी भी बनाने की कोशिश करी है. ऑपरेशन संकल्प इंडिया ने लॉन्च किया था 2019 में टू इंश्योर द सेफ पैसेज ऑफ इंडियन फ्लैगशिप्स which most often operated off the coast of Oman. Then there has been a memorandum of understanding on Duqm Port during Modi's visit, is a historic landmark in our security cooperation, providing basic facilities, operation turnaround and other logistics facilities to Indian naval ships operating in the region. This is the important point you have to understand, that defense and cooperation बहुत अच्छा रहा है. अगर हम naval ships के लिए बात करें, we have been given the passage as well, our military has been given the transit options as well, right? So these are the important points we have to understand. Then trade and commerce forms a very important part of, or let's say, engagement as well, right? Bilateral trade, if we talk about between India and Oman, has reached $12.388 billion. Very important. There are over 6,000 India Oman joint ventures in Oman with an estimated investment of over $7.5 billion. India is the second largest market for Oman's crude oil export for the year 2022 after China. In October 2022, India and Oman launched the RuPay debit card in Oman, a key footprint of India's initiative of promoting DPI, that is the digital public structure in the infrastructure in the world. India and Oman are looking to increasing their cooperation in strategic areas such as the space cooperation, right? And this memorandum of this was signed during Modi ji's visit as well. Then there is a possibility that there would be a joint exploration of rare earth metal as well. Plus India recently said कि हमने Middle East अपना कॉरिडोर बनाना है, उसमें ये बहुत ज्यादा important help play कर सकता है. Then there is a proposal from South Asia Gas Enterprise as well, that they want to construct a 1400-meter long deep sea gas pipeline from Oman to India for the transfer of gas as well. So you can see the possibilities, and in top of this you can add the people to people connectivity as well. So what we are trying to say over here is that if I see India and Oman, Their interests are similar. First of all, they have defense and security को very good. They have trade that is very important. Plus इंडिया ने डिजिटल पब्लिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को वहां पे एडवांस किया है, राइट? तो इंडिया का अगर एक्सपोर्ट करें क्रूड ऑयल को लेके तो बहुत अच्छा चल रहा है. प्लस जो आने वाले टाइम में व्हाट कुड बी द opportunity areas, we could have space cooperation, we could have underwater sea connectivity as well, we could have a transfer pipeline as well, right? So these are a lot of opportunities that are there. There are a lot of convergent, we can say, variants that are there between India and Oman. And if India is looking to have a proper base in West Asia, then I think Oman is a country from which they could start, and by leveraging this opportunity it could gain a lot of trust balance that could come in favor of India as well. Because what we have seen is that India and Oman has also people to people connectivity as well. And what we have seen is, with the ongoing Israel Hamas war testing the region to its limits, the Oman Sultan visit is timely and very important for India as well as for the West Asian region. I hope now this article is clear to everybody. अगर एक बार क्लियर है तो टाइप कर दो यस. Hanji. Now you can see the most of the articles that have come in today's newspaper. It is related to the issue of, or the security breach that happened in Parliament, and they have, opposition parties have stalled the Parliament, and they want Home Minister to speak on the issue. That has been very much a very important concern of India as well. That why there has been a security breach, right? So isko leke काफी ज़्यादा, if we talk about, there has been a lot of furor that has been created, right? This is all political article. ठीक है, यहाँ पे कुछ ऐसा नहीं है. यहाँ पे हम देख सकते हैं, no, nothing important over here if I talk about here. Now this is the important point we have to understand. Exports shrink again, trade deficit narrows as imports fall faster. Now one of the things that is happening in India's context of balance of trade is, our imports are also falling, but our exports are shrinking. Now this is a very big concern. I think we have seen a lot of news over the years and we have discussed it a lot कि हमारे जो export है ना, वो बहुत ज्यादा कम हो रही है. Now our exports are having and facing a lot of problems as well. Now they have dropped to 2.83% in November to $33.9 billion, while the imports fell by a sharper 4.33% to $54.48 billion. If we talk about November trade deficit, it is 6.7% narrower on an year-on-year basis and 31.2% less than the October's tally, right? So one of the concern that you have to understand is that yes, global inflation is one of the part. Webber, you are absolutely right, but something has to be done. If we have to leverage our exports, right, we have to increase our production. We have to understand that we need to create a quality product as well, right? These are the areas that we need to look into कि क्यों हमारे एक्सपोर्ट कम हो रहे हैं. एक तो इशू प्रोडक्शन का हो सकता है, दूसरा क्वालिटी का इशू हो सकता है जिसकी वजह से एक्सपोर्ट नहीं हो रहे हैं, तीसरा एक इंटरनेशनल फैक्टर तो है ही है, ग्लोबल इन्फ्लेशन, दैट इज रिड्यूसिंग द डिमांड फॉर इंडियन गुड्स एज वेल. प्लस एंड इफ वी कंसिडर द पार्ट ऑफ यूरोपियन यूनियन, then they are going to bring a new law where they would be accepting only those products that would be environmentally sound as well, that would have not created a lot of emissions as well. So there is a lot of impact that could come in the upcoming years on India's export as well. And India has to understand that they need to leverage their opportunities, they need to leverage their production linked incentive schemes in order to understand that we need to up the manufacturing part so that we are able to leverage our position and we are able to have the basic exports. Because one of the thing we know is exports play a very important role in driving the GDP of a country, right? ये एक important point है जो हमें पता होना चाहिए, तभी इससे हम आगे कर सकते हैं. Okay. Now, these are the issues that have been going on. US Israel discuss timetable to scale back war in Gaza, right? Hungary blocks EU aid for Ukraine despite consensus on bloc membership talks. I think सबको पता है कि यूक्रेन की मेंबरशिप की टॉक चल रही है यूरोपियन यूनियन में, एंड हंगरी ने एड को ब्लॉक कर दिया है जो यूरोपियन यूनियन ने देना चाहता था, राइट? सो दीज आर द थिंग्स दैट हैव बीन हैपनिंग इन द वर्ल्ड स्टेज, एंड I think we are then done with our today's analysis, right? हाँ जी, मेरे ख्याल से आज साइंस का पेज तो नहीं आता. अच्छा, one thing I want to tell you is, guys, those who have been preparing and those who are giving the exam in 2024, one thing you make sure you understand that you guys will not miss the science and tech page any day. संडे को भी न्यूज़पेपर आता है, you will read the science and tech page. Why I'm telling you this? Science and tech page is very very important, and what we will be doing, I have thinking of this. आई डोंट नो वेदर इट वुड बी इम्प्लीमेंटेड और नॉट, ठीक है। कोशिश रहेगी हमारी तरफ से, इंस्टीट्यूट की तरफ से हम इम्प्लीमेंट करेंगे that before the prelims we're gonna do something related to this science and tech page, because we have seen a lot of questions that are coming integrating of environment with science and tech. So we could launch a little mini series on YouTube free of cost, right, for every student, for every aspirant, so that we are able to make sure that we are able to do certain articles that are very important and that could be potentially coming in prelims 2024. How many you of think that we need to have this mini series, एक पोल ही हो जाए, right? Because if we see last year examination, then there were a lot of questions that came directly from this science and tech pages, right? So what we can do is cover the science and tech page of 7 to 8 months clearly in that mini series. हाँ जी, देखो आप लोगों के लिए स्टार्ट करना, अगर आप लोग का पोल होगा और मेजोरिटी होगी तभी हम स्टार्ट करेंगे, राइट? यस, इट इज बेनिफिशियल इफ यू आर गिविंग दैट 2026 अटेम्प्ट, 2 ही साल रह गए बस। ओके, सी आई हैवंट गॉट लॉट ऑफ वोट्स, ठीक है। वैभव ने बोला है, शिवा ने बोला है और कोमल ने बोला है, बाकी स्टूडेंट्स ने कुछ बोला नहीं है, बट आई हैव लॉट ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स ऑनलाइन राइट नाउ, ठीक है, दे कैन गिव मी देयर ओपिनियन एज वेल। नाउ वी आर गेटिंग द वोट्स, राइट? सर हाउ वी कैन नो marks we get in prelims? It will be after the mains result, the it will be after the result you will get to know. Okay, so I have got a lot of votes that are in favor. Thank you for your services, sir. We will do something about it, right? Because I want the viewers, I think everybody is giving the prelims examination, most of you. Yes, Chetu, after interview most of you are giving the examination, right? Okay, so what we will be doing is we will plan this out, and अभी थोड़ा टाइम है, एंड वी विल डू दिस बिफोर प्रीलिम्स ओनली, राइट? कुछ 1 सवा महीने पहले वी विल डू दिट, राइट? Yes, if you are for CDS, yes, CDS examination is similar, something like that of UPSC only, right? UPSC conducts CDS examination. Okay, guys. So this is it for today. Thank you so much. I got your votes and we will think about it. And till then, if you have any doubt, you can ask me. And now it's the weekend coming, but do read your Sunday newspaper. And thank you so much. And I will take your doubt if you have any doubt. Okay, guys, one thing I want to tell you that on our channel, we are having a course that is running free of cost related to CSAT. So please do attend those classes as well. That are going to be very, very important. Thika team is taking a lot of efforts to provide you free of cost the CSAT initiative that has been launched on our YouTube channel, right? See, a lot of you are saying, sir, get well soon. See, I am all right. Okay? Don't worry about me. It's just the viral, and I have been taking the classes, right? So thank you for your wishes as well. Hope on Monday I have my throat back, right? Original throat back. Chali. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.